Good afternoon, welcome to this workshop. Do we have anybody signed up for public comments?
No.
Okay, no public comments. We'll move right on to the next item, which is discuss any regular meeting agenda items for the meeting posted tonight, council or staff, anything consent, regular? Anybody? No? You're up.
All right, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Just a quick data centers rolling project update. As you all will recall, 2 weeks ago, there was an additional discussion on access, noise mitigation, and the outer loop alignment. And so just want to give you a quick update on how that's been addressed. We have met with them, regular weekly meetings. Everything's good in terms of mutually agreeable language, including just some tweaks in terms of access. Essentially defer that to later on during the planning process, but where they work with me as the planning director and the fire marshal to determine that according to know that at that point. Noise mitigation, we had a healthy discussion about that at the last workshop. Bren provided some great points to be able to incorporate into that language, and almost all of that has remained unchanged, but in terms of the back and forth, I've got 3 slides. It's very lengthy, and so we can go over that if you like, but the bottom line is the plan must be submitted and approved, shall be conducted to address not only decibel level, but duration, frequency, time of day, et cetera. Just, don't be scared, Reverend folks, to the et cetera part. We'll work together on that. Things that are not foreseen at this time. If the results indicate unacceptable noise levels, then a mitigation plan will have to be put together and it will come back. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Brian, anything, Kathy, anything else that from our perspective, we can certainly show you details of it. They're in the slide. Slides 5 through 7, but also outer loop alignment. So let me go back to the site plan. So updated site plan took the access points off of Bob White. Inevitably, at least one access point is going to come off of Bob White, prior to the planning stage, and then the new proposed outer loop alignment, which, as opposed to on the other side of the property, closer to Bob White. And so, substantial deviation from that, but kind of in that general part of the property. That's.
So we don't know the connection yet, not sure of the connection yet.
Not sure the connection yet, that's right. And then, so that, just working together on that, and so just that language is not significantly different than what we're presenting. Just to say, that's the new starting point, not what's on the thoroughfare plan right now, so thoroughfare plan will be updated with that information.
Well, for the noise mitigation, I want to thank you guys for working on that. I really do appreciate it. It's going to be nice to have that language going forward, with any other development opportunities that we have. But I know that you kind of did that on the fly, so thank you very much, everyone involved.
Well, it's very helpful for future code amendments too. Say, all right, decibel level is not an end all be all in terms of impact on neighbors, so. And so here's, got 3 slides of noise mitigation that we can go through if you like. But great job, Bren, putting that together on the fly, and it's excellent. So that is it.
Based upon the additions to the agenda item, do we need to go through staff or council? Do we need to go through the whole presentation? Or just those 3 slides right quick? Is everybody fine with moving it on? Second reading, is that good enough for the public?
Amanda talking to me.
I'm sorry.
How concerned should we be about the language on the slide? Versus the language in the plan development edition?
Do they need to be the exact same?
Well, Brian, can you go back to the summary that you, if we're just gonna show this summary?
I thought you were gonna go in more detail. with the-
So it's in here, so actually, and I could,
Don't know that that is an accurate
I could
summary.
update it, so what I could do is just reference,
Summaries.
that's paraphrasing. So what I could do is just, yeah.
Yeah.
Additionally, the language that's in the draft ordinance is this. So what I just updated what was there on the condition, for that condition to kind of mesh with this, but it's paraphrased. So what if you,
I think it's as long as what you go over during the meeting is comprehensive and accurate, then we can match the summary language at a later time. Just, we'll have time to massage that language after the meeting if necessary, as long as what you're presenting is, again, accurate and complete, and then as long as that's in council's motion to adopt in accordance with the presentation that you gave. Does that answer your question?
So you're gonna go through the full, this is gonna be in your presentation
what's
tonight?
in there? And if, so. If needed, if I need to go over all that. And make it pretty painful for folks, I'm having to do that.
Are there two different
You go to
sets
the
of language in the in this? I guess what I'm getting at is don't present something that's not as comprehensive. And then later on present something as comprehensive. Is that what y'all are getting at?
That if this is the summary that will ultimately be adopted in the ordinance, to make sure that the way that the noise mitigation is described is accurate. And so. Is that what you're concerned?
Sorry.
What's not? on
My
there?
concern is that it says a noise mitigation plan must be submitted, approved, and if the results indicate unacceptable noise levels, and that's just not what the condition itself says.
Okay, then we'll get that updated. Sorry, that was my attempt to take what was in the new full set of mitigation standards. And update just this condition without putting all that 3 pages in it, so I can, whatever it needs to say. I may just reference detailed noise mitigation parameters on, or shown in slides 5 through 7.
But this ordinance like that's in our, does that match that, or are we gonna
I
have?
don't know when you got that, the ordinance.
This is on this current.
So the language was finalized in the last couple of days
So,
in terms of.
so this will change that.
Right, so what Kathy's staff has is the absolute latest, which is this. So this language is what's gonna be in the ordinance.
And that's the exact language you can drop in here.
Correct.
It's just a much broader condition than what was summarized. So first, the companies agreed to use all commercially reasonable efforts to design, construct, and operate the facility to minimize noise. So they just blanket, they have agreed that they are gonna do everything that's in their power, that's commercially reasonable to minimize noise. By incorporating noise control measures in both the site design and operations to prevent adverse impacts on the surrounding properties. And then they agreed that we referenced a couple of our code sections. We have a decibel limit, an absolute decibel limit in the UDC, but we also have a statement in the nuisance code that essentially prohibits unreasonably loud, disturbing, or unnecessary noise. So it's not necessary that that noise, a noise could be a nuisance without exceeding the absolute decibel limit. And so they have agreed in this condition that that the decibel limit shall be considered the absolute maximum, but just that just because they haven't hit the maximum doesn't mean it's not still a nuisance noise that they need to address.
And that's what's.
Yes, this is all accurate. I just don't think that the summary,
Brent, can I suggest that I take, because I thought about doing this and probably should have, but take the general requirement, that summary, put it in there and just say more details to be found on slides 5 through 7. That is the condition.
And that's the summary that's just in your presentation, right? This is the
Yeah,
language that's.
this is all in there. So the intent was
is there
not to
another slide?
override this.
Do you have slides 5 through 7
Yep,
here?
these are them,
Okay,
or they, whatever.
can you go back one? There, or noise mitigation.
Uh-huh.
No, one, whatever would have been, I think, slide 6, probably. The one that was,
This one.
yes.
So the plan is required as a condition of issuing a building permit. It's not conditional on if there's nuisance noise. They have to develop this plan and follow it. And then they have to do a post-construction indication that after they've constructed the facility, they have to have the professional come back out and verify that all of those things were implemented, were working as intended and suppressing any noise concerns as they were expected to do in the study. And then the last condition, if you'll go to the next slide, Brian, is that after all of that, if we still have concerns with noise and we get a noise complaint that we've determined that is valid based on a reasonable person standard, that we then have the opportunity to either use we will meet together and work on a solution. And if we reach an impasse, then we can either use our municipal court system through violations of one or both of our codes, or we can submit to an arbitration process. And that's kind of at our option, which one we feel like would be the better solution. So there's a lot of protections built in there to help address noise concerns that might be generated from the facility. From the overarching standard that they'll use commercially reasonable efforts to do everything they can to mitigate noise, the specific plan requiring a professional to tell them, what they need to do that. They have to do it, and then they have to verify that they did it. And then if we still get noise complaints, then we'll come back to the table and have a process for that in the condition. So I feel like it's very comprehensive and will protect the surrounding property owners. And the applicant was very amenable to work with us on this condition. So appreciate y'all raising a concern and the applicant for working through it with us. And I feel like the condition that we've arrived at together will protect the interests that were brought up at the last workshop. I just wanted to make sure that the summary didn't override the, okay, very good, thank you.
Okay. So we cleaned up before the regular meeting.
Yes.
All right. Anything else? Good. All right, thank you. So before we get off this topic, staff, council, nothing on consent or regular? All good? All right, next item is to receive a typical board and commission annual report from Liz Caraway.
Well, Mayor and Council, it's that time.
You're usually kind of funny.
Huh?
You're usually kind of funny with these.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, there's no sound effects. I learned my lesson early on, but no, there is some time. It would have been better with sound effects. No Oregon, no. So this is your fall report. As you know, we have reports twice a year, depending on when board members are appointed. Just as a general overview, your boards and commissions policy that was adopted a few years ago states that each board must submit to the council a report summarizing their last 12 months of board activity. And in that is a cover letter, the summary, their response to work plans and goals, as well as any suggested work plans and goals for the future, as well as an and any other information they find necessary. You'll see that all put together in the little booklet in front of you. Again, annual board reports are submitted depending on when the board appointments are made. So for the purpose of this report today, it is only the 6 boards there that you see. That's the Airport Advisory Board, the Animal Services Advisory Board, the Civil Service Commission, Citizens Police Advisory Board, the Emergency Services Advisory Board, and Planning and Zoning Commission. So when we look at the rest of this presentation, just remember it's just those 6 boards. So a few stats from the last year for those 6 boards, a total of 44 board members met 69 times. And of course, planning and zoning always plans for the most meetings, and that was 44 times. I think they got canceled 1 meeting last year. And so just jumping right in, again, these are just the highlights. You'll see the full report in the booklet in front of you. So the Airport Advisory Board reviewed airport hangar leases, grants, the bulk fuel suppliers was a big thing in the last year. They also received various presentations about the storm repairs, upcoming airport construction, as well as received reports on the airport performances. Their response to goal and work plans is just continue to recommend to council hangar leases, land leases, potential grants, et cetera, and review policies and programs and communications from there. The Animal Services Advisory Board, their discussion really centered on the Chapter 6 animals in the Code of Ordinances, and also recommending fees for spade and neutering programs at the shelter. They also recommended the Petco Love Initiative program, and their response to goals is to continue to recommend updates as needed in the Code of Ordinances, and also any new fees for services. Your Citizens Police Advisory Commission, every meeting they would receive executive summaries reporting on police activity. They also attended the Temple Police Department Awards ceremony and took tours of the command post, the police department, and the driving range and Signition Shoot House. They received various presentations, such as on mental health and strategic plan, the Blue Santa program, e-bikes and the bicycle unit, patrol operations, and their response to goals and work plans is to continue to review policies and programs, as well as the annual bias-based policing and use of force, and also continue to be that bridge in communication between the community. Your Civil Service Commission, you can see on this side how many exams and appeals were given. There was 5 police entrance exams, 1 fire entrance, 3 police promotional exams, 2 fire promotional exams, then 1 corporal promotional appeal hearing, and 3 captain promotional appeal hearings. And so the Civil Service Commission works according to Chapter 143 and local rules. They also keep updated on all training for this board, and will continue to rule on appeals, as well as adopt any necessary updates to civil service. And then your Emergency Services Advisory Board, they too receive a lot of presentations. This last year, they received presentations from the Bell County Communication Center, the Emergency Management, as well as reviewed the fiscal year 26 budget process. They also toured many different locations. They had apparatus tours, station tours, participated in Fire Safety Day, as well as the Fire Awards Dinner and the Junior Cadets graduation. And their goals and work plans, again, is just to continue to support the community with outreach events, and continue to advise the fire chief on any expectations and services. And then there's just a few photos. Chief Randall's always submits his report with lots of photos, which I like. The top over here on the left is the 911 memorial. The top on the right is actually the board receiving an emergency management presentation during a board meeting. You can see the junior cadets and the junior cadet graduation down below, and then safety net. And these are all programs that the board supports. And then lastly, we have the Planning and Zoning Commission, and you can see a summary of their activities there. They had 40 subdivision plats, 23 minor or amending plats, 34 zoning cases, and 1 set of code amendments, as well as reviewing 1 neighborhood plan, 7 annexations, and 2 events. Which y'all are familiar with because y'all have almost the same numbers. Their response to goal and work plan, they break it down into their strategic plan and their comprehensive plan. And you can see where they provided support for some key flats there at the top, as well as vertical mixed use plan development districts, such as Northwest Hills and Neighborhood Plan. Also co-planning on key master plans related to privately maintained public park and trail systems for the comprehensive plan there in the middle. You can see that they received presentations regarding City of Temple CIP program related to the transportation plan, RV parks, code changes and annexation updates. And their recommendations is to have 2, I believe 2 are attending. 2 commissioners will attend the Safe Conference in College Station. They want to continue to provide additional opportunities for training for their members, and also look at the Unified Development Code and receive additional presentations in regard to neighborhood planning and historical design. Does anybody have any questions? Busy boards, and as always, I just want to take an opportunity to thank both the department head and the board liaisons for all the work they put into organizing these meetings every month.
We appreciate the hard work of the city secretary's office. Yeah.
Yeah.
Liz, you guys do a great job. Spoke with Brandon, I don't know, a week or so ago about the quality of the candidates we're now getting for, the folks who are interviewing for the boards and commissions. I think it's really making a difference. This time, I think we had less than half a dozen total openings, and I think we had 15 or 20-ish applicants. So more
They were
applicants,
all quality
all
folks that
very
wanted to do it.
qualified applicants. So I think the process is working well. So thank y'all for the extra effort it takes to
I
follow
think
up.
we did decide too that public safety has the most exciting meetings.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys
I
are,
want both of those two.
I know, we need to go, we want to go. Yeah, yeah,
The chief has fun.
most definitely.
That's good. All right, very good. Let's move on. Item 3 is receive a presentation regarding the 14th Street roadway and trail project. Ms. Smith.
New council. So, right now we're underway with the design plans for the 14th Street roadway and trail project. That is generally, you can see there, that picture below, it's just, east of the railroad line and within the Ferguson Park neighborhood. It extends from Avenue H to North of Adams, to the so just as a reminder, a little bit of history, Ferguson Park was our very first neighborhood plan. We started in 2018 and completed that in 2019. Completed several plans since. Throughout that process, 14th Street was identified as a key pedestrian corridor. You can actually see a foot route along the east side of the street where you see a lot of folks that are walking now without any pedestrian facilities. The roadway itself functions as a buffer roadway. A lot of folks use it to get in and out of the neighborhood. They either go downtown to get them to Avenue H or Adams Avenue. So the neighborhood plan recommended both roadway and trail improvements in the area that I talked about earlier. But in that plan document, the current roadway width is more like a county style road where you have garbages on both sides as opposed to curb and gutter. It's only 26 feet wide, and our standard roadway width, or minimum local residential roadway width, is 31 feet. However, this roadway is 26 feet, no curb and gutter. So that, and the plan recommended just keeping it that that roadway, but it actually functions as a collector street. So through this design process, we determined it would be best to really make that a 31-foot wide roadway. That gets us up to the local street standards, which is a lot better than the 62 now. And so, here's some of the states that y'all can see. So the right of way, and if we were to look at a 31-foot street, so that goes from back curb to back curb with an 8-foot sidewalk along the east side, adjacent to the neighborhood. The right of way, needed for that is roughly 0.328 acres. That would affect 3 total structures that you can see there. So you can see the additional right of way that we would need to acquire to get to that 50 feet in the blue. And then you can see in red, the structures that would be affected, up there on the far right, and then the 2 down here, 25 and 26. So we, have been working with, Stateside and this our consultant, part engineering, and estimated those acquisitions to be right under $600,000 if we were to move forward with this plan. Total right of way services, about 273,000, so a total project cost of a little over 6.8 million. We also have another one. So, really the idea behind this was to have a true hike and bike trail. And to have a true hike and bike trail, it's really optimal to have a width much larger than a sidewalk width to be 12 feet wide. And so if we were to go to that, that would require a right of way acquisition of a little over 0.63 acres. And instead of affecting just 3 structures, that would affect 6 total structures. And I've identified those additional 3 structures there, with the circles. The acquisitions is a bit more, so if you recall from the previous slide, estimated acquisitions for a little under 600,000, so with the additional, right of way of going to 58 feet instead of 50, that would be a little over 1.1 million, and with the right of way services at 285 at a total of little under 7.5 million. So in order to get, a larger trail, we would need more right of way, so the same roadway width, but a larger trail, and a little bit more right of way. So a difference of little over 6.8 million to little over 7.4 million.
Could you review again the width?
Yes.
12 feet for the
Yes.
7.5.
So this previous one, this would be 50-foot right of way with an 8-foot sidewalk. Here's a really good exhibit over here if you want to see. So this is what we call a typical section of the first right. So this typical section will show your roadway there on the left side, a 4-foot, what we call landscape buffer. And then you can see there's the 8-foot sidewalk on the side. And then with the next one, you can see it's a little bit different. So you have the 31-foot road, an 8-foot buffer instead of a 4-foot buffer, which will allow for trees, and I'll explain that, versus the other one will not. And then you can see the 12-foot trail there. So that's why we need the additional 8 feet of right over that, which costs some more, and mostly what you're gonna see the cost is the additional 4 foot in the width of the sidewalk trail, as well as the additional right of access. So what will happen here? So if we go with the 50 feet, right of way with the 8-foot sidewalk, then we will get something like this. So these are 2 examples in time. So these are real live examples of things that we've done. So you have, so let's say that's 4 feet on the side. We will not have enough space to have street trees. It will be grass. It will effectively be it will still be a landscape buffer, but with no landscape in it, right? Or if we have the 8 feet, we'll have a look more like this, that you see on Avenue 2. That's easy. There. And so you can see that we have a nice trail section there. We have street trees. There just isn't enough space for trees to grow within a 4-foot landscape buffer. And then you also have some lighting within there as well.
So the 8-foot, you get trees.
Correct. Well, no, 8-foot, no trees. 12-foot, you get trees.
And what's the distance of the street?
The street is 31 feet back of curve and folks off.
But north to south or east to west, whichever is the length of the
Oh,
street.
the length street, it's gonna go from Avenue H to just north of Adams to Long Beach. And here is just, I wanted to provide a side-by-side example for y'all, 'cause I thought that would be a little bit easier too. So, just to go through it one more time. So this is a little bit zoomed in, so you can see it better. So remember, both streets are the same either way, 31 foot wide. With the 50 foot right of way, you have the 4 foot buffer, no street trees, and the 8 foot sidewalk. Three structures impacted, a little over 6.8 million. With the 58 foot right of way option, you have 31 foot street, the same as the other option. You have an 8 foot buffer with street trees and a 12 foot trail for a little over 7.4 million. And so we do have design underway, but we wanted to come to you all to get your thoughts and see how you think that we should move forward. So while design has been funded, and we're underway with that, I just want to remind everyone, we do have in our business plan that construction is proposed in fiscal year 29. But we thought we was going to get your feedback now to front of design and be able to move forward with that in advance of construction in 29.
If we had the 8 foot trail with the 8 foot buffer, we could put trees, does that still get into those same structures?
Yes, I
I'm saying I
believe,
would want to build it.
right, I believe so, I think either way, we're so close to it now. I think it's right. And I have Sharon here, who's actually the project manager, so I'm looking over to her because she knows much more than I do. But I believe that's the case.
Well, so if we were gonna, there would be no reason to do that, say it was 4 feet, but no structures.
Correct, so it's basically spending the same. Yeah, you will save costs a little bit on the concrete of the trail. So we could, that could be an option as well, it would affect the same numbers. So we said.
So other structures on both of those, three of them are buildings, right, and two of them.
Number exactly. I think you're right, these are good, this one's right up there close now, you probably see how. They're right there right now. You remember, I think that's the business.
State.
Possibly. These two are, this one's a business, this is a shelter. That's the business and those. You're right. And then just to remind, this is the difference, so the ones circled, yes, are affected with the 58. We have to go.
And on that note, the turnaround for number 8, is that included, so that a separate?
Yes, it's included.
So that was estimated or widened or just?
What we're doing with the turnaround today with this project, we're improving it, right?
Yeah, that's what we were.
So Aaron, just to refresh my recollection, I think this is a true statement. We cannot do any level of sidewalk or trail without impacting those three structures. So some of those structures are just really close to the right of way. So anything other than just repairing the street, there are some right of way impacts.
That's correct. These three would still be, no matter what.
Even, yeah, for any width of sidewalk, you gotta take those structures. And then I think that's kind of what y'all were talking about is, for if, on the other hand, to get the 6, there's really not a good in between. You do 3 or you do 6. And that's why we were proposing those two options, because obviously there's a spectrum of different things you could do in between, but they wouldn't make a difference on the right of way. And that was, I think, our main concern was, the impact, do we want to minimize the impact to structures by maybe designing down a little bit from what was originally envisioned, Or do we want to stay with the original plan, but impact a few more structures?
We may have said all that on my map. Are those long structures, are they occupied right now with businesses or do we know?
Some of them are occupied.
25 to. Yes.
I think the shelter is active, yes.
It is.
I'm not certain on 25. Yeah.
And those prices, and those acquisition prices are taking down, relocating some businesses into the town. Or
Relocation, everything.
On a condition of the three buildings, the three additional buildings, if you went with the second option. And the math,
I mean.
I know that's totally putting you on the spot.
No, it's
But
okay.
my thought is are they in good usable condition? Or are they, in some ways, maybe even alive?
Parenthood one's fairly. I apologize, I don't know if it's off my head, and it's been a while since of course you've been out this paper and did an assessment. But I could always gather that information back. If we can't get trees, maybe a couple bushes. You know, the main point of the trees, right, is for us at least, it's not just, the beautiful streetscape that it provides, but the shade to it, exactly, so, but yes, we could. Or we could.
House effects from the.
We could buy it.
Small camping for you, that's the problem.
That's right.
Well,
no. In the eight, because the roots see so far in row, so if we put them in 40, they're just gonna have that sidewalk over time. It won't be the curve. It's sold out, I say, kind of scale. Let's see. I would love some direction on which unresolved that we should handle. In your order.
I personally. Go with it.
Okay.
Oh, that's us?
I personally would go with the 8-foot trail, and then.
That's option one, that's the 6A.
We've got some pretty bad roads in there, I think. Some of that money can be pushed. Somewhere else. These are nice.
And really, all of this is above what we think originally, I think it was a little over 4 million, is what we initially had put in, which Tracy's gonna confirm. So all these are higher than what we initially estimated. So it's just some.
Is that already pretty well traveled, going to the grocery store and things like that? I mean, are people basically walking almost in the roadway now?
And you can see the footpath on the east
Pretty,
side of the
pretty
road.
heavily worn.
I showed a lot of 8 minutes.
Oh, plus, okay.
5.8 for what?
Is what we budgeted.
And 29.
It's 5.8 million is what we budgeted for in fiscal year 29. So both of these options are above what we budgeted right now.
Well, not really, because that's full cost. And what did you say the right of way was, 600?
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's 600 with the 50 foot, 1.1 to 58.
Did that include design?
Design stuff,
So it's a little over budget.
a little bit.
Those in 29.
So I didn't catch what you were saying, something about some other roads.
Yeah, those roads are really bad over there.
Ferguson Park.
Really bad. Asphalt. I think we can use that.
You'd rather do
So as opposed to doing.
that one as some streets.
I'd rather use small sidewalks.
Going with the options. I can leave that by you. So you want direction today?
I would, if you're
It's like, we're talking a lot, but not really helping.
Yeah, it's okay, Zoe has provided some input.
I mean, I'm gonna go a whole lot with what Zoe says, it's for this kind of area, yeah.
So 50-foot right away,
Yes, sir.
with that?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Perfect, thank you.
You bet. Thank you for putting that together.
Thank you.
Next item is receive departmental update from police.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. How are you now? Pleased to be in front of you today to give you an update on the police. So, as you all know, probably from the many presentations, we had all begins with our mission statement, protect and serve and work in partnership with our community to prevent abuse and solve crime with integrity, honor, and dedication. That's really critically important to us. Our work starts here, building relationships, trust, and communication. Let's dive right in. This is through August 30th, 2025. Out of the 166 positions that we had available, we had 165 of those positions today. That has changed in the meantime. We've got a resignation and retirement now. But that's still really good numbers. Few vacancies on our civilian side.
Chief, how long have you been this close to budgeted?
We were actually
Is this
full
the-
for like a week.
Well, but a year ago,
Oh, no.
right. So you've had this kind of stability maybe for how long? 6 months, 9 months?
6 months, 9 months. The momentum has really shifted for us for a lot of different reasons. We're getting lateral applicants that we never previously been able to take on. We've got a lot of really good things going on.
How much of that, I know this is a tough question to answer maybe, but are you seeing sort of a perception or political change out there? You know, there was a long time where it wasn't, you know.
Yeah, I do know.
I'm not gonna say it out loud.
Look, I think there's a lot of things that the city has really done proactively. That's it takes a little bit of time to build up some momentum. You find yourself in a deficit. You know, I look at things we've done okay with incentives, with meet and confer changes, with we were running an every month testing process to try and backfill. A lot of those changes were done through the meet and confer process that worked really well for us.
Let me ask that differently. Is it, are other communities continuing to struggle
Yes,
as mightily as we were?
yes.
Okay.
But I think there has been probably broadly a shift
Okay.
in societal expectations or societal thoughts.
Why didn't you just say that when I asked?
Trying to get you excited.
I'm not gonna say it. That's great news.
Yeah, it's
Thank you
fantastic.
for that. Let's work.
So, just on response times, we've shaved 30 seconds off the average total response time, on 13 seconds on the average officer response time. Average dispatch time, they've shaved 15 seconds off, so they're all big numbers. Calls for service are up just slightly, self-initiated activity is up 10%. Total events, if you calculate all those together, we're up 4%. So we continue to see the growth in the city of Temple, we continue to see the population growth, the development, all those good things, and we can see that we continue to see additional calls. Total arrests up about 9%. Last year at this time, we arrested 2,208 people, this year 2,417. Department of Traffic Enforcement up across the board. Citations up 22%, citation charges up 17, citation warnings up 21, traffic stops up 21. DWI arrests are down slightly. Accident reports up just slightly, and our fatality accident rates down from where we were last year. Use of force statistics, down 11%. Causes and origin of crime, this is really just a reminder. Population density, degree of urbanization, variations in composition of the population, particularly youth concentrations, stability of the population, mobility, modes of transportation, economic conditions. We're right on the I-35 corridor. It's pretty easy to stop off, maybe commit some crimes, jump back on the interstate, and we're already out of the city. Family conditions, climate, effective strength of law enforcement agencies, administrative and investigative emphasis on law enforcement, policies and other components, citizens' attitudes, crime reporting practices of your citizenry. These are just a few of the things that impact causes and origin of crime. You all have seen this. The growth potential, what we've seen over the past 5, 10 years, just continues to kind of accelerate. Growth, curfew legislation, these are other key factors for me. Economy, homelessness, substance abuse, backlog in the criminal justice system, disaster related fraud and theft. Geography of the I-35 corridor. Crimes against persons, so, homicides down 33%, negligent manslaughter down 200%, justifiable homicides down 100%. You may remember me talking about a reclassification of the rape category, then changing the definition, there are more items going into that bucket. But that's one we continue to keep our eyes on. Sodomy down 29%, sexual assault with an object, 0, fondling, is up slightly, 110%. Just a reminder, for those folks that may be listening, when you deal with small numbers, percentages can be rather large. You have to really look at the aggregate data and get a full picture of that. Aggravated assault cases, we've taken 20 more cases than we had last year. Simple assaults down 4%. Intimidation cases are up. Kidnapping and abduction, I just want to clarify that it's not, we have not had 16 kidnappings. What goes into that is a lot of DV, domestic violence related, unlawful restraint, criminal restraint categories. Those are included in the time. But it's down 10%. Incest, 0, statutory rape, 0, commercial sex acts, human trafficking, gone from 5 last year to 0. Involuntary servitude, 0. Top crimes against society, drugs and narcotics violations are down 22%, drug equipment violations are down 10, pornography and obscene material up fairly significantly from 14 to 37. So we just give you an example of why we theorize. Say you have 2 youngsters, high school students that engage in sexual activity, and they report it, and it begins to get transmitted from one friend to the other. Every time somebody transmits that, it creates a new offense from that category. That's where we're seeing that. Because gambling offenses up by 5, prostitution from 0 to 1, weapons law violations, we've taken 2 more cases of that this year, animal cruelty, 2 more cases of that as well. Crimes against property, robbery is down 26%, arson case is slightly elevated, extortion and blackmail from 0 to 2, burglary down 26, theft down 7, motor vehicle theft down 39, counterfeiting forgery down 43, fraud offenses. We've taken 1 more case, really relatively unchanged. Embezzlement, be statistically accurate, it would be down 1,700%. From 17 to 0. Stolen property offenses, we've taken 1 more. Destruction of property, you may recall in that category, we found a coding error in our previous records management system. We fixed that. So this category is going to run hot the entire year until it gets kind of reset for us. Bribery, 0. Wrong button. Always. Crimes against persons, we've seen about a 10% increase with almost 100 more cases. Crimes against society down 14%. Crimes against property total down 3%. Group total A offenses down 2% for the year. And I would tell you, I think that's quite remarkable seeing the growth the Temple has experienced, more people, more development. If a police department can maintain the crime that's been reported or reduce it during periods of extreme growth, that's quite remarkable. My 90, so if you all remember in October of 23, we launched kind of a soft launch of a survey system. So our citizens actually get a survey that's sent to them following completed police service. It also takes into account what the Bell County Dispatch does for them as well. Pleased to report, these numbers remain relatively unchanged since the beginning of that time. 90% of the people that complete your survey have a positive or very positive view of the Temple Police. I don't know about y'all. I rarely take a survey when things are good. I will take a survey when things I'm irritated or it didn't go as well as I expected. And 6% are neutral, 3% negative, 2% very negative. To dive a little deeper, this past week, 89% had a positive view of the agency. 96% felt they were treated with respect. 93% felt they were treated fairly. 98% felt they were listened to. 99% understood what they were told, and 89% had their questions answered. What do y'all think? Is that all right? That's really good. Right here, this is where police legitimacy rests. People feel like they were treated fairly. People feel like they was. That's where police legitimacy rests. These really remain unchanged for the most part. Top safety concerns, theft, traffic offenses, it's the number one complaint my office receives, is traffic over. Out of all the activities we do, out of all the arrests we make, out of all the search warrants, out of all the offenses we respond to, the number one complaint I receive in my office, traffic over. The third one, maybe unexpectedly, is I don't have any. All right, that's great. And then the bottom of the list, 4% gang activity. So what do they want to see? I want to see more of us. I think sometimes we can lose sight of the fact that you look out your front bay window or you're sitting on the front porch and you see a police department car go by, black and white. It has this impact on our perception that we're safer because those folks are out there. They'd like to see increased community engagement, and 9 people since the start of this survey would like to see decreased. So car visibility. I suspect it's because of this.
Yeah.
That's really my suspicion, is that they would like to see less of us, because when we do drive down the street, we are impacting their bottom line. That's my suspicion. Previous 90 days, we've really been focused on the Public Safety Training Center. The niche RMS project, obviously, we received the command post to leave you, taking a look at that. As well, we continue to work on the niche project. We've got 6 agencies on board. I believe that leaves us with 8 or 9 others to bring on board. That's remarkable that we have that countywide consortium going. It's going to be, once we get it full build out, which should occur next year, hopefully. It's going to be a game changer in law enforcement.
Chief, do you have any of those 6 to 9 that haven't adopted it yet that are pushing back, or is it just timing? Is it budget?
I don't understand.
So,
It's just timing. They're all, everyone's signed up.
Yeah.
Everyone's on board.
Yeah.
They're just taking, we
Just
have
taking-
to only onboard so many at a time because
Okay.
we are doing it.
oh, okay, all right.
Sorry, I just.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
I think one agency waffled a little bit, but is back on board, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so I think it's still everybody now.
Okay.
So let's do their data conversion process.
Yeah, typically the slower portions of it is related to their ability to convert all records
Texas.
into something that can run the system. So everybody's working at their own pace to get their records converted. Once their records are converted and they're ready to go, then we can onboard.
Okay. And you think everybody will be on board when?
Hopefully next year.
And that's countywide,
Yes, sir.
right? Does it extend beyond Dale County? Or, right, I mean, the goal was countywide.
Cody's coming on board, so they
Okay.
have a little bit of split.
Yeah.
Then you have list of additional agencies.
We do, we have,
What was that, Kelly?
go ahead.
I just said, Chief has additional list of more people that wanna join, once we get the initial.
Outside
It's
of
just going.
So if that keeps up, then when does that get punted to a region-wide management, or have you taken on the
We're gonna
beast?
take that year by year.
I got
We felt really fortunate and blessed to be able to get every agency to agree.
Sure.
Pretty tough,
you. Right.
right?
Yeah, you said that from the very beginning.
Very tough. Kelly's group has been amazing. I mean, everybody that we talked to that have worked with, because they are side by side with them from from well before go live, certainly the night of go live. I mean, there is a plan. It's a little bit like launching a spaceship. There's go, no goes almost every 4 hours,
Okay.
or every 2 hours. The closer we get, it's we go, no go, go, no go, go. It's incredibly complicated. Alexa, Corey, Kelly's team have been amazing. Yeah, it's been fantastic. And once they go live, I always check in with the director or the chief or whoever's coming on board.
Yeah.
I ask them, everyone so far is going great. And they always compliment the last 74. It's fantastic.
The agencies that are currently on the system, are they seeing positive results?
Yes. I check in with every one of them that goes live.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to launch electronic citations. Here very soon as well.
Would there ever be a way to find out the impact countywide on something like this?
I think so. I think you could make some deductions, right? So The key thing that I always keep in mind is that everybody prior to this was on kind of a disparate system.
Right,
So I had my domain, I
right.
couldn't see my information or my data. Criminals don't care what city you're in. They're not looking at street signs going, okay, now I'm in Belleville or now I'm in Temple. They don't care. But everybody was kind of pocketed and siloed. Now, everyone has agreed to share information openly and readily. So if we stop a car and take an offense for this, we want to run that name and see, well, this is connected to this and me. That just creates an automatic contact where it used to be, you would have to call each individual agency or write a memo and send it to their records department and say, I need to report. You can just imagine the
Sure.
delay, the inefficiency of that process.
Then you just don't do it.
Huh?
Then you probably just don't do it.
Maybe. This is almost instantaneous. The data's been put in, it's accessible. So there's some real power in the information sharing of it. I also think it increases the officer safety. Impact.
Mhm.
So if somebody got a flag or an alert in a different city, you run, you want that pop up.
Good, that's exciting.
Yes, sir. Community outreach events, we're preparing for the 2026 budget. Next 90 days, relationship, trust and communication, public safety training center, continued efforts in community outreach. How you can help the police, just a few reminders, please remove the valuables from your vehicles. Please take your guns from your vehicles. Please lock your vehicles. Always stay vigilant. If you see something, say something. Let's turn on your porch lights. Upcoming events, we had one this morning, breakfast badge, Liz Flowers. We have another one tomorrow, Popular Pop at Starbucks, 3550. A static display coming up, Miller Park, for Higher Power Ministries, October 7th, National Night Out. October 8th, we have a Faith and Blue Lunch Seminar. October 20th, we have our Blue Santa Golf Tournament, Mill Creek Salado. October 25th, we have the Civil Service exam. Before I leave the next few slides, I just want to tell you about drone as a first responder, just real quick. So we got a grant through the state of Texas. It's going to allow us to put up 3 static locations where we will have drones positioned throughout the city. We will be able to receive the 911 call before it's actually dispatched. And pre-launch, a drone as a first responder to go to the scene, take a look at it, view it for us, provide information back to us, so that we can either adjust our response. That perhaps maybe if we get an unknown accident call, we send 4 units. We look at it, like, that's just a vendor, we really need it. So just a more efficient way to use our resources, and to provide some mobile options for our officers. We get pretty excited about that. Just some photographs of what we do throughout the year. That's our school resource camp as well. Kiddo card events. We'll host a memorial coming up here in this year or next year. Texas Roadhouse events. Who doesn't like donuts? Growing donuts. I'm happy to answer any questions that you all might have.
Are we gonna see the command center?
Yes.
I'm on one.
Well,
It was pretty amazing, and the thermal imaging from the drone is, it's next level.
I guess to see it at the event the other night, what was going on.
Yeah, Mike and I we were blown away. It was really impressive.
we put it through its paces this past weekend with Tangleford. Just so you know, Jennifer Penninger did a remarkable job. All of city staff that participated in the fire remarkable. It was an incredibly safe event. We had the most video cameras that we've ever had. And then we were able to, about every 15, 20 minutes, launch a drone. We were checking all the rooftops for elevated positioning. Somebody had, we did find somebody on the roof, they're in contact, not having nefarious intent. But that's technology that you all have added to us, so we didn't have before. It makes us safer, not only on a daily basis for police department, it certainly makes our community members more safe on the attendance. So we're incredibly great.
You found to watch for free.
I think he was just curious. So happened to be in that facility, lives there. Things really low. Of course, it made us pretty high alert.
Yeah.
We give a national instead of terrorist.
Right.
Chief, you skipped over the drone as a first responder grant pretty quickly. I mean, that was pretty significant, almost $1 million, right? And who wrote that grant?
Mike Treeman. He's our crime analyst.
Wow.
You don't know our crime analyst division. Mike Treeman and Christine Seldon, they are amazing at what they do. Mike has experience in the US Army as a veteran with Criminal Investigations Division. The other one is Command Sergeant, retired Command Sergeant Major. And they do absolutely phenomenal work. We give them a data set, we give them a crime. They will dig deep. And many times they can provide officers with records, that additional piece of information or that lead they need in order to solve it. Mike Tringler has been deeply involved in our LPR project for a number of years as well. And that program continues to expand and very, very well.
Did y'all see that? I can't remember what I saw in here, and what I saw at CPAC. Did y'all see that video with the drone?
We showed it at the budget meeting,
Does that work?
but that might be, if y'all don't remember, it might be something we either send a link or bring back at a,
Free.
or find it real quick if Kelly's really good. Just challenged her. She is really good, so I'm sure you could find it if y'all wanted to see it, but it will be a great addition. And, I had zero expectation that we would get a grant for that, so I was very, very pleased to hear that.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go to Dunwoody, Georgia, and get inside their real-time crime center, which is where they operate their drones and first responder program for. So it's a little different municipality. I believe it's 11 square miles or so. And I had this expectation that there would be certain calls of service that we would use it on, and then nothing else. And they're like, yeah, but tell me more about it. And so they actually pulled up some videos. They had a shoplifting person who gets contacted by loss prevention as they're leaving the store, and now they're on foot, kind of running and fleeing. They use the drone to just watch the person run around the parking lot while they're on the phone, calling somebody for a ride, and are literally directing officers in to make the apprehension. They went so far to discuss the fact that they use it as overwatch for officers on just traffic stops. So say we learn some information, we know the officer, the backup officer is going to be delayed in responding, they'll launch the drone and just watch the activity.
Who's driving the drone?
Drone pilots, all certified through the FAA Part 107 license.
How many do we have?
10. And we're gonna fly at 10.
Well, so that's the $1 million.
Zorro.com.
But what it's. Is $1 million already arrived and we've spent it?
We're in the process of spending.
Okay, and so give a quick rundown of what all that's going to purchase.
So,
You wanna watch the video real quick, just to?
Knows that every job is important. And for more than 10 years, Zorro.com has been delivering tools, parts.
Located outside of Houston, Texas, Pearland is the first drone as first responder agency in the country to have a BVLOS waiver.
DFR has increased the efficiency and effectiveness of our overall public safety goals. Generally, we get called someone's having a pretty bad day. So if they're already having a bad day, I want to be the best part of that day. It's knowing that somebody needed help and I was able to provide that.
The need to rethink law enforcement has become apparent. When every second counts, an innovative solution is needed. Public safety is constantly being redefined by technology. With the introduction of drones, agencies found a means to enhance their situational awareness without compromising the safety of their officers and civilians.
Drones are available almost 24/7 if we need them. The instances of the drone usage increased, then that changed my mind and got me thinking, hey, we're actually using these and they're working, helping us help the community. The biggest advantages that our DFR program brings to our agency and the public is that we can provide real-time information and allocate resources before responders ever make it on scene. We can let them know what's going on, where it's happening, and what they're going to need to tackle the problem.
Pearland PD is embracing the future and shaping how DFR operations will look and operate in the near future by using technologies like the DJI Dock, integrations with real-time crime centers, and various airspace detection systems.
We're showing that we're arriving on scene first about 55% of the time. So over half the time when a call comes out, our drone's going to get there first. We provide additional information and a different vantage point to the responding officers.
Meanwhile, over 200 miles away in the heart of Texas, San Antonio PD paves the way for the next generation of drone as first responder as the largest metro city in the U.S. using this program.
Being able to save a life through this program, being a police officer, is probably one of the most rewarding things that I've ever experienced. There's really no words to describe what it feels like when you make a difference that actually saves a life.
SAPD exemplifies the joint relationship between drones and manned aviation assets, working in harmony for optimal operations.
The biggest advantage to having a DFR program here in San Antonio is the ability to get rapid, real-time data and information sent back to the officers, sent back to dispatch of the situation that's going on prior to the officer's arrival.
DroneSense has been instrumental in getting San Antonio PD's DFR program to this point and serves as the hub of their DFR operations using OpsHub.
We really feel like the DroneSense Remote is more of an operational hub that not only allows us to integrate our manned and unmanned resources, but also allows us to integrate other leading technologies like counter UAS, drone and aircraft detection systems, real-time crime center.
DroneSense is great because they can implement and tie in all of these evolving and ever-changing technologies into DroneSense itself. And that allows us to remotely fly these drones.
We feel like that DroneSense is the vehicle or the platform to take us into the future with our DFR program.
Reach out to us with Pearland, San Antonio PD. We're all on board with the DFR program because we believe this is the future of policing and it's effective.
Located outside of Houston, Texas, Pearland is the first drone as first responder.
Your question involves the grant funding that we have for it. The grant includes many more items, $1 million. It includes three, you saw those kind of riveting panels, 3 of those stations throughout. We designed it, and I think we wrote in the grant 2 additional radar stations. And we think we're gonna only need 1, which provides a little bit of additional capacity in that grant funding. And then we can go back to the grant authorizer and say, hey, that changed, we use that funding for X. It's a pretty flexible grant program that we have. We believe we're gonna be able to cover 90-95% of the city, those 3 locations. And the beyond the vision, BVLOS stands for Beyond Visual Line of Sight. So currently, when you launch a drone, you have to have a pilot and you have to maintain line of sight with that. With the actual physical drone in the physical space, beyond visual line of sight allows for remote launching of it. So drone operators in their car be able to really pull over, hit a button, watch this drone remote. We'll also come back and we'll remotely swap out the batteries as well, so we can relaunch them. So the technology is fairly amazing that we have coming forward.
For both, you're stationary on your,
Ours will be 3 stationary stations. In addition to the UAS systems, unmanned aerial systems that we currently have, that are highly mobile. And we also have what's called a prototype, and which is a tethered drone. Super easy, I mean, I can operate it, just hit a button, and it'll go up 100 feet. Anything I missed that you should question?
I think the 26 budget included 2 additional drones. So this is a bit different in that they're the stationary that can be launched remotely. And then we've already invested in several drones for the department that they use. I think routinely.
Yes, ma'am, almost every day.
Just the safety aspect of it, not knowing what you're getting into, but to have that bird's eye view of what's around the corner. That's just amazing.
Yes, ma'am, really is. The investments that you all have made, we kind of place following last project, we really try to do it with support. This technology not only makes the community safer, but it makes our officers safer as well. And with that,
They also have little drones that you fly into the building, go down the hall within the room, right?
yeah, we don't talk about that one, that's okay. They have some tactical drones that we can use. And again, no, you're perfectly fine. Yeah, so there's a lot of times where traditionally you would have to send a person into a space in order to determine where a criminal offender is, or somebody that needs our assistance or help. The ability to put a drone into those spaces, check out the entire house, look in the crannies and the space that you can see via drone, just makes us much safer. And some of your investments for next year, do that is actually signing that. And under the camera, and under the door cam. Right, so if we need to look into a space, we have that ability. Whole camera that we can, typically, if we have had incidents where somebody's hiding in the attic. Somebody's eventually got to stick their head up there. But if we have a camera, then we can take a look. It makes it much safer because we have a better sense of operation.
I wish I had this picture, but I'll ask you to imagine it in your mind, because I know you've seen it. I've shown it to you a million times. And just think of the shooting range out there off the loop. Think about those stacks of tires with weeds growing up in them. Think about that versus the investment that you guys have made in the last several years to take the department to have a brand new training facility, phase 2, on the streets, I think right now for, competitive sealed proposals, the, Raven and, Flock system in place throughout our community, the new mobile command, center, the ability for drones and all of the other equipment that you have invested in for the police department. 60% increase in starting pay for police officers since 2018. You guys have done so much to invest in our department, and what you're investing in, obviously, of course, is public safety, so that when you or I are at home and we need a trained officer, that we call 911 and they're there in minutes with all of the training, all of the equipment, and all of the talent that you need to keep us safe. And so you guys don't get a lot of credit for that, but you have made considerable investments in the department over the last several years. And Mayor, back to your question on filling the department up, I think that has a lot to do with it, because people want to work in a department that has opportunities for professionalism and continued education and a reputation for excellence, and all of the investments that y'all have made over the last few years. Chief and his leadership team have taken to the department, and then the individual men and women in the department have implemented, have really enhanced our ability to respond and keep our community safe. And I think, thinking back to the budget presentation when we talked about how much growth we've had since 2020, 25% growth in our community, and our crime is down by 2% on a fixed rate. That's not a per capita. That's an absolute number. That is an incredible statistic, in my opinion, and that is to be celebrated.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Fund your priorities, right? We've always talked about that, funding priorities, but you also fund what works and what you trust. And that makes a huge difference.
Well, I have told Chief before, and as I'm around different events or whatever, I try to be incognito. That's getting hard to do, but ask officers and ask them what they think about the department working there. And it's a different story now than it was a few years ago.
We talked about as a city being an employer of choice. I'd say the city is an employer of choice. We were just recently contacted by someone who needed to do some work in our city, and they said, I don't want to go back to my city. I want to come work here, and I've got about 5 or 6 of them. So that investment, that work, that effort does pay off. We're incredibly grateful for all.
I'm sorry, we're full up.
Thank you all.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. We appreciate it. All right. Council, anything else for Chief before he steps away? Stepping away? Thank you, Chief. Thank you. All right. So it is currently about 10 minutes after 3. We will enter into executive session now to discuss the employment, duties, and work plan for the city manager. Texas Government Code 551074. The city council will meet in executive session to discuss the employment and duties of the city manager. No final action will be taken. So at this time, I'll adjourn the workshop, and we'll convene the executive session shortly.